The elections in Turkey were nothing more than a continuation of Erdogan's grasping all the powers he could and more in Turkey since the coup 2 years ago. Last year they had the referendum to change the political system, and this year he actually took officially the I would say the rudder of Turkey in his hands. He has more powers even than Kemal had, and definitely he has more powers than our president, because in our democracy, the United States, there's a balance of powers. Erdogan doesn't have any balance. He controls everything, and he has put either relatives in the cabinet posts, or they are very close friends and associates, like the Minister of Finance, that is very, very important for the country, is in the hands of his son-in-law, Berat al-Bayrak. And then we have a number of others, like that are already they are known in Turkey, and they are very rich people. Like Minister of Education is the owner of a private college. The Ministry of Health owns a chain of pharmacies, and the Minister of Culture and Tourism has a successful travel agency. So the whole thing is now in his hands. He has control over 65 boards, commissions, committees established with laws and other regulations, and are merged in 9 entities, namely Social Policies Council, Law Policies, Security and Foreign Policies, Local governments, health and food, economy, education and science, technology, innovation. Now the president is going to chair these boards, but at the same time, he has already installed other chairs. So because he cannot be present everywhere, he has his own representatives in the same boards. So these boards, according to the new system, propose policies, oversee implementation of the policies, make decisions like long-term strategic decisions, and these decisions are beyond the responsibilities of the ministers. So in essence, Erdogan controls even the ministries. Now he has installed 8 directorates, which would include the Directorate of General Staff, Directorate of National Intelligence, Directorate of Religious Affairs, and for the first time, Turkey sees the Directorate of Strategy and Budgeting. So how he's going to work, I am not sure, and I don't believe anybody can be sure. But also he has the Director of Communications, which actually will organize media and communication activities. In essence, he's going to control even the press. And he has already thrown to prison a lot of journalists, religious people who are against him, other politicians, and that's how he got actually elected, because he didn't have any real opposition to begin with. So that's slowly he's trying to become a modern sultan, and he hopes to get the caliphate again. But in my opinion, he has a problem with that, because the caliphate was a product of the of occupation of lands. And since he had occupied all the Islamic centers and mostly Sunni people, he became by himself a caliph, like the Pope, if I can say it, or the ecumenical patriarch, this kind of a thing. There is no democracy in that caliphate. So what he wants to do is to control even the religion of other countries, and through the religion of other countries, impose his own power to other countries, his own influence. And that would be Bosnia, Herzegovina, Albania, Kosovo in Europe, and also he could control the Muslims in Greece, in Thrace especially, the Dodecanese Islands, the occupied territory of Cyprus in the north, and also Saudi Arabia, all the Arab countries, Iran, Afghanistan, Western India, and Pakistan. So this is what he wants to do. The problem he has with that is that he is not in control, in political control of those countries. Also, most Arabs, most Muslims, I should say, do not consider the Turks to be real Muslims. And this because they gamble a lot, which is against the Quran, and also they drink alcoholic beverages, which is also against the Quran. So that's what we have on the religious side. I don't believe he's going to make it. On the political side, I think he might keep the power for a few years, but I don't see him staying, because the world is not like when the Kemal was or sultans before. Today, even if he controls the social media, there's always way for people to find out what's happening outside of the country and to be influenced from outside of the country. I don't believe that he will be able to control the Muslims in Western Europe, although I'm sure he will send his own people to agitate, I would say, other countries, like mostly Germany. And I say that because in Germany, in the West, most of the Muslims there that come from Turkey are not Turks. They are Kurds, and that would be a problem. Also in Constantinople, most of the, from what I did some research a few years back, most of the Muslim inhabitants, the non-Greeks of Constantinople, are Kurds. They are not Turks. So I don't know. I believe it's a matter of time. He's not going to stay like that. And I do believe that Turkey, because of the control he has, might not be able to sustain the economy that it has right now. Some people say it would be stronger, but I'm not an economist, so I cannot say that, but I don't believe in the control economy. I cannot see how can a controlled economy flourish. Economy requires innovation. Education is very important, and if these two are controlled, investments are controlled, I don't see how can the economy become better. And again, I'm not an economist. Okay, so that's my belief. Because anytime we have an economy, in a free economy, you have movement of ideas, movement of economic, how can I put it, culture, the whole thing, businesses come and go. If they don't like what they see, they can always change the product or they change the way they work. When you control the economy like that, I don't know how you can make a better, allow the economy to grow. That's my belief as a non-economist. I'm not an economist. Turkey is losing its importance. Turkey kept importance all these years because of the location. In real estate, we say location, location, location. Well, the straits do not have the importance they used to have. Never mind that people say they still do. They don't. And a number of reasons are supporting this. One is that they are getting shallower and shallower, while the ships are getting bigger and bigger. So you cannot pass through the Dardanelles big ships like you used to pass, I don't know, 100 years ago, because the ships were smaller and the bottom of the Dardanelles were deeper. At the same time, we have different weapons that we didn't have 100 years ago, like missiles. You do not need to go to be close, let's say, to Crimea if you want to bomb it. You can do it from Chicago. So they have lost that. And Erdogan has realized that, and I'm sure, and he wants to open a canal, the Istanbul Canal, which would be actually a line from Çatalca down south, up north. I don't remember the town today, but it's like an alternate route, which is going to be dug, and they will take care of it. It's going to be a canal, regular canal. Also, he wants to expand the airport in Istanbul, Constantinople, which is actually outside in Yeşilköy, and some other airports, so that he can buy the F-35s. Personally, I don't believe the United States will sell F-35s to Turkey. But Turkey has a very strong lobby. I mean, it has very strong lobby because it pays money to lobbies. I was reading the other day from that the president of SECA, Mr. Christopher, stated that Turkey spent $102 million just in lobbying. Greece, for example, has spent nothing. So the lobby might do something, but no. The problem now would be that if Turkey continues to be the way Erdogan wants to be, it's going to come as in opposition, mainly of Germany. And this because Germany will never allow Turkey to direct traffic, if I can say that. I don't know how NATO is going to take care of that, because he's becoming more of a liability as he goes and against NATO standards. You see, to be a NATO country, you have to follow the OSCE. And, they have democracy and this kind of a thing. And Turkey is losing it. The question I have is, how is NATO going to handle this? Because to my knowledge, there is no mechanism to kick a country out. Just like the EU. I have not seen anywhere a mechanism that allow the other party members to say to the country, to Turkey or whatsoever, we don't want you, you are a liability to us, you don't serve anything, get out of here. But again, that would be related to how Russia is going to act. And to tell you the truth, I'm not really sure about the United States, because it seems to me that the exception of the president, all the others are against Russia, and our president now says Russia is our friend. Uh, that makes a few countries, especially the Baltic Sea, nervous, because they used to be under Russian, we say, occupation since 1918. Well, so I don't know how that's going to work. It's a matter of a guessing game right now. But as long as Erdogan is pushing the West is going to react against him. And I don't know how Russia and Turkey are going to work together or against each other, because now they have the problem in Syria, the problem of Kurdistan in Iraq, and part of Syria, all that thing. And I'm sure in a few years we're going to see all the tiles will fall where they may, and we'll see how it's going to go.